a goal and it's deflected in. For me and for the coach, it's a goal. I can hear the substitutes talking on the side of the pitch and they're all saying, we'll tell him it was an own goal, we'll tell him it was an own goal. And I said to the boys when I was doing the feedback session with the match analysis, do you get more confidence out of scoring a goal or out of creating an own goal? And they all said, I'll score a goal. I said, why are you trying to take the confidence away from your teammate? If you play as a team, confident, pass the ball quicker, move, all feeling confident as a team, you'll all succeed more. Do you think that culture affects players and perhaps sends them in your direction?
Possibly, but that your example actually happens in first team football. It's very quick for a player to blame someone else and that player is probably not playing very well. So as soon as he can jump onto something, so it doesn't really come into it. They're trying to save themselves.
They were on the subs bench for the start of the game. They're starting ahead in their position.
There you go. They're trying to save themselves. So it's the player that's just come to me after 2 or 3 years. It's exactly that. You know, he's been flying, but suddenly he's having a dip. So it's a bit of a panic, actually.
Try and get them to work together.
It's really hard, but you can do it. You can do it because it is a team sport. Hi.
How do you promote individuality and a strong sense of identity when you're in an environment that often requires intense dedication and conformity when you're all competing for a contract or a youth team scholarship?
The key is I don't work with academies, so it's that I'm not 100% sure about. But when you're working with first team, your personality is, if you work on a one-to-one basis, that stands out. That's key. That makes you stand out as an individual. But it also makes you stronger. You feel stronger because you have that self-belief. So, of course, you're becoming more impactful with the team. I think maybe in academies it's a different concept because it has to be a team environment because they're younger, they're building together. So it's slightly different, but you can look at the individuals and look at their strengths. And what you do is you can pull out the strengths and name those strengths to them so that they know they become good at one thing and then actually it's a knock-on effect. They become good at other things. So their confidence just grows from that essentially. Okay. Hi.
Hi. How do you install the winning mentality and the fact that losing is not acceptable without making it put more pressure on them? Because that's the problem that I've had with some of my players this season is that you just keep saying that losing isn't acceptable, you've got to keep winning.
Yeah.
You've got to believe that you can win. Some of them react completely differently to others, and some of them say there's so much pressure on them. I wonder who you drop out.
Right. I think the key is as well. The football, the 90 minutes each week is like a reward. You've trained hard all week, so you have to go and enjoy it. So if you can put the enjoyment into the pressure, so you change it. So pressure is good. People work hard under pressure, but you have to encourage them to understand that it's a bit like feeling nervous and fearful. It actually can be a good feeling. You need that to drive you forward. So a little bit of pressure, and actually that builds, depending on how old they are, that builds and they get used to it.
My problem was that we weren't winning at the time. We were one bit of a losing run.
Right.
And I needed to get them into the winning mentality, but putting that extra pressure on them made them drop even further. And I just took it on eventually.
Right. Do you ever look at it sort of, because I think the one thing, and probably I forget sometimes, is the whole enjoyment of it.
Yeah, that's how I did it.
Yeah, you just go and enjoy it, and then you can pick up on because they do need to learn how to deal with pressure.
So just completely forget about the winning mentality and just sort of enjoying it.
And then you pick up the winning mentality. That's the only way I would suggest it, if they're really taking a dip. But for me, it has to be about winning. That's the key. But you turn it and you make them understand it. So there is pressure there, but you learn to work with it. You learn to use that pressure. Any negativity, because there's lots in life, it's general, but you just pick out those negativities and look at a positive in that negative. So they still understand it, they still have it. But when there's a real dip, you need to give them freedom and they need to go and enjoy it. Okay? Hi.
Given the stigma of mental health, especially around the fans, do you think there's a weakness
Yeah, very much so. Fans are quite key. And it's interesting because fans really, they don't know them. But, you know, at the end of the day, they feel like fans have paid money, they've come to watch them. So if they fail, it's a key. And also footballers, they're playing their game, they can hear the fans talking and taking it on board. And that has a real knock-on effect on their confidence. And it's, yet their family or the people closest to them can say things and they won't care.
But do you think players are thinking more scared about going to a psychologist or a performance director in that instance because they're scared that fans will have something else to pick on?
The fans won't know. Yeah, the fans won't know. It's so confidential, except for the players who want to talk about it. But it's very rarely anyone would know if there's a psychologist in a club working already, or whether a player's working with a psychologist. There's no need for the fans to know. Hi.
What about the coaches? Have you experienced coaches who have played differently because they know that player has requested coaching?
No, not really actually. I've probably been lucky enough to work with heads of medical or managers that actually embrace it. So actually it lends themselves more for the players doing it because they are embracing it and they see a strength in it. I actually haven't seen really any negativity, but that's my only, maybe I've been lucky. You know, maybe there is something out there.
So just going back to that previous point,
Yeah.
I agree that there has to be patient confidentiality or player confidentiality.
Yeah.
However, to make it more acceptable, for example, like with GB cycling,
Yeah.
they've gone full out to say one of the major differences as to why they've won gold medals is because they've had psychology
Yeah.
support. They've made it acceptable within UK athletics, and therefore a lot of it, if they can afford it, which is a separate issue,
Yeah.
they are embracing the psychology element to the training package and
Yeah.
appreciating it. I think keeping it, I understand why you have to,
Yeah.
but keeping it as a thing that's still a kind of a taboo means that people aren't going to embrace it as much. And not
It's a hard one. It's a hard one because I absolutely agree with you. I think people need to understand it more. It needs to be out there more. But we also, because we work with various players, you have to understand their privacy as well. So it's a hard one. I mean, you know, there are players now that are talking about it more and more, and they're quite open about it. I had one player come up to me who knew that I was working with two other players in a club, and he said, I guess our sessions are confidential, aren't you? It doesn't matter if they know I'm working with you, because what we talk about is confident. Absolutely. So he's even becoming, but that's taken him 2 years to be quite comfortable. I think it's the industry, but I have to say football is starting to embrace it, and it is starting to be put out there, because it is a massive strength for anyone to have. Definitely. Hi.
Been extremely fortunate to work with the England team, the South African rugby team. England during the early 2000s, we saw that the way forward with themselves is through psychology.
Yeah.
Unfortunate experience, and obviously something I'd like to learn more about. Getting in front of their, seeing one of their real key identities. My question is there anything you can tell us around what skills or drills you would use to work on concentration?
Right, that's a really key one actually. Concentration is, I think, because we mentioned the distractions, mental toughness. And I think what you have to say to the individual is, why are you here? Why are you playing football, rugby? If you want to play and if you want to get to your highest level and to the best you can be, you focus. You put it back on them. You know, you take control. I think it's one of the most important things as well, is we're here to work with the players, but actually I'd love to be able to say he's a success because of us, he's a success, but actually he's his own success because no one's on the pitch except him. It's what he actually takes from it that makes you a good teacher, whatever. So I think, going back to your question, I think it's back on him. You know, you focus. If you want to get there quicker, because that's always my key as well. Some of the players would have got there, would have reached their peak, would have reached the Premiership but it's actually, do you want to get there quicker? Do you want to stay there longer? You know, what do you want to achieve? And of course you can watch actually their body language really change. Actually, yeah, I want that. Actually, I know I can do that. I certainly know I can try to do that. And you get their concentration straight on. And yeah, sometimes it can wobble, but that's life in general. But you know, because you've put it on them, and because then suddenly they've had a taste of improving, and their confidence builds, and it's a circle. It comes full circle, and they don't, and it builds.
How often do you work one-on-one individually in complementary sessions with managers and coaches to improve their performance?
That's not something I really do. I work very much with first team players. I have experienced coaching staff, and what I used to do was I'd work with the players on an individual basis and then give feedback on a monthly basis, and they would take then what they needed to from that. But what I try to do, and which probably is even better, is the players, because they would be developing and showing and moving forward, they would also voice, well, this is what I'm working on. Can I do extra because I need to visualise, use my visualisation? Or so actually the player pulled the coaches, but once a month.
And the coaches ever come to you regarding their own?
No. Well, not me. I mean, it could be someone else that they would do it, but I haven't experienced that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.